Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick, and it is Monday, the 5th of August. It's right in the thick of preseason right now. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of updates on the app. They're happening every day right now, and we are going to do a large league draft. We're going to do a 14-team league, and we're going to pick 13th way at the end. So let's see what kind of team we can build, and we are going to use my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick players. I do invite you to go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. You can that's where you can access the app. And if you like it, you can subscribe to it. It's very reasonable cost. It's only $9.95 for a full year. You can use it on as many fantasy drafts as you are entered in. And it is a very useful tool to help you out in your fantasy draft this season. Now, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to set up. What you're going to do is when you log into the app, it's going to ask you 3 questions. Okay, so the first question is, how does your league score points? In this case, it's Yahoo, so it's a half-point PPR. Next up question, do you want to engage Jimmy's recommended player filters? Normally I say yes, but in this case, I want to see all the players so we can talk about them during the course of this draft. I'm going to say no to this, to that question. And then the third question is, do you want to enter draft mode? We do, and so you have to answer 2 questions. What's the size of your league? And this is going to be a 14-team league, but you can see that we can do draft mode anywhere from 8 to 16 teams, okay? What is your draft position? Draft position is 13th, so we're going to go ahead and set that. Go ahead and click the enter draft mode, and you can see the player list right here. Here's the position filter, so if you want to look at just quarterbacks or running backs or wide receivers, you just use those. And then these tabs represent each round of the draft, and the reason why they're clustered together is obviously because our 2 picks are very close to one another. They're only 3 picks apart. So when you let's go and look here and see what's happening. So the draft is now loading. So all we need to do now is just go to our first round pick tab, and you can see here's some recommendations right here. I'm just going to minimize that so we just see the names. And then down below you've got the player list. And what this player list is this is every player between our first pick and our third pick. Okay, if we sort by draft position, we're picking 13th, but we're looking at every player from pick number 9 to pick number 45. Okay, so there's a little bit of overlap between the rounds. You can see here that picks 9 through 12 have a little gun marker next to them. That means they are long shots. And down here at the bottom, picks number 41 through 45 have little hands. That means those players are reaches. Basically what that means is that they're a reach this round, but next round they're going to be long shots. So if you want to take them, you should probably take them around early. And also you'll notice that instead of being sorted by the draft position, we have it sorted instead by this thing called the VORC score. And what does VORC stand for? VORC stands for value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. It's basically these 4 columns over here, and based on how the player scores, they get points, and then those points are added up, and that gives you the VORC score. And if you hover over the name, you will see that it breaks down how those points were calculated. And obviously, what you want to do is you want to focus on the top half of the list and avoid the players at the bottom half of the list because these are all problematic. You know, in this case, a lot of these guys are going to be poor value to take with our 13th and 16th pick. You know, they can be injured. There's a lot of injury designations here, low reliability issues, poor outlook. You know, there's a number of reasons or any combination thereof. You just want to stay away from the guys at the bottom of the list. Focus on the top. And so let's jump back here and see what's happening. So we need to pick our players, right? So what is the app recommending? Well, for this pick in the draft, they're recommending Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are all very fine choices, but I definitely want to get myself an elite running back for at this point in the draft because they're all going to be gone, right? So let's look at what running backs are available at this point. And you can see that James Conner is at the top of the list, but he is listed as a long shot. So he basically that means he has less than a 50-50 chance of being available when it finally gets to our pick. Of course, if he is available, he would be my number 1 pick for running back. Down below him, you've got Melvin Gordon. Obviously, the holdout's an issue with him. Joe Mixon, who I think is a very fine choice. Dalvin Cook, also a good choice, but he does have reliability issues. He scores low on reliability. All these guys are very good, and you can see see Nick Chubb as well as another long shot who scores very well, but of course has the question about Kareem Hunt coming back in week 9 or week 10 or whenever he comes back. That's an issue you're going to have to deal with. That is going to impact his value. So that's why he's a little bit farther down the list. But let's go ahead and get all these guys queued up. And then what I'll do is I will pause the video till we're within 3 of our pick. Oh, it's moving pretty quickly here. So let's go ahead and we'll get, there's James Conner. There's Joe Mixon. There's Travis Kelce. There's Juju and Tyreek. There's Dalvin Cook. So we're getting them all queued up. And when you're using this app, I love to use the queue. And the reason is because if any of these players make it to my next round, I want to be sure that I know that, because that way I would absolutely take one of these players over the best player in the in the 3rd round, which in this case is pick number 42, right? So I always queue up the players that I want, and that just helps me keep tabs on them. But I think we've got obviously we've got a decent chance we could get James Conner. So we'll just wait and see what happens as it gets to us. Only 3 more picks. You can also see there are some other players here. We got Julio Jones and Odell Beckham, Michael Thomas. These are guys who don't score as well on the VORK score. So if we look at the top players, you got Tyreek, Juju, Mike Evans. But Michael Thomas, he's down here. He does not score very well because he signed that big contract. He's on a low volume pass offense. There's a number of issues. Julio Jones is down here because he's injured right now. And so I don't deal with injured players during my draft. But look at this. James Conner is still available. So let's go ahead and we will take Conner with our first pick. And it looks like someone took Juju Smith-Schuster. They did right before us. So we definitely still need to get ourselves an elite wide receiver. And I will trust Tyreek more than I will trust any of these other receivers that are still on the board. So let's go ahead and we'll take him. I'm sorry. I thought it was my pick immediately. We've got to go through the 14th and 15th pick, and then it'll come back to us. So where's Tyreek? Do I have him? Let's get him queued up. And it'll take just a second here. And of course, he's taking his full allotment of time. Of course he is. So, but that's basically how it works. Once we're done here, what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the 3-4 round, and we're going to find the best players in the 3rd and 4th round for our team. But I do like how this team has started out. I think both these guys are quality RB1, quality wide receiver 1. That's how you want to start your draft. Let's go ahead and take Tyreek. And then 3rd, 4th round. Now you can see that what is it recommending? Well, the top wide receiver, Brandon Cooks. Phillip Lindsay as the top running back. Kerryon Johnson as another top running back. And I got to say, very much like Kerryon Johnson's upside right now. When they released Theo Riddick, man, I mean, that's very, very exciting for his usage. His usage jumped. His value is fantastic. If we look at the player list right now, Kerryon Johnson offers right now the 20th most valuable player in half-point PPR. That's unbelievable. We can get him in with pick number 40. So we are getting like nearly, a round and a half of additional value by taking Kerryon Johnson. Phillip Lindsay obviously is fading a little bit right now. His value is fading a bit. He offers certainly fair value at this point, but I got to tell you, if I can get Kerryon Johnson, I'm going to take Kerryon Johnson. Brandon Cooks is also a great wide receiver, but really in drafts this year, you need to focus on running backs early. So if we just filter for just running backs, Phillip Lindsay is there. Josh Jacobs, another player who I very much like. Now, he is a long shot. His value rank is 32, so he's a very good value at this point in the draft. Kenyon Drake, value rank 57, not nearly as good, especially for our draft position. James White, David Montgomery offers nice fair value. So I think if I had to choose 2 running backs from this list, Kerryon Johnson, David Montgomery would be my top choices. Phillip Lindsay, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake would be my next choices. James White, he does offer decent value, but I don't trust New England running backs before pick 100. I just don't. I don't at all. I've been watching camp right now. Apparently, Both Sony Michel and Damien Harris are getting worked on route running for catching passes. Well, who is that directly going to impact? It's going to impact James White. And so that's why he only gets a 2-star outlook here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to queue these guys up. I'm going to pause till we're within 2 of our next pick. We'll see who is available. We'll see who we get. All right, so it's almost back to us, and it looks like, well, Philip Lindsay got taken like super early, and Kerryon Johnson, oh, of course, he just got taken right before our pick. Oh, that makes me mad. But look at this. Josh Jacobs is still on the board, and I very much like Josh. Oh, look at that. Kenyon Drake just came off. So let's go ahead. We'll take Jacobs with this pick, and then we should be able to get Montgomery coming around the horn. And, one of the things about my app is that, every draft is different, right? There's always going to be guys taken early. There's always going to be guys available late. My app tries to adjust for that, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. And even though we didn't make out with my top choice, Kerryon Johnson, we did get a long shot. We got Josh Jacobs, and it kind of balances out that way. But David Montgomery, he'll be our third running back, so that's a great core of players to start with. Look at that. Tyreek Hill, James Conner, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. That's really nice. Let's go to the next round and see who we need to take. Now, you can see here that it's recommending Robby Anderson, Tevin Coleman, Sammy Watkins. Those are all good choices. I'm a big fan of Robby Anderson. He offers great value. If we look here, Robby Anderson offers top 50 value, and we're going to be at pick 69 when it gets back to us. So that is, again, that's how you win your fantasy draft, man. You maximize the value at every single pick in the draft. I think we should maybe look at tight ends, though. I mean, this is the round. Look at this. We got Vance McDonald, Jared Cook, David Njoku. Hunter Henry and Eric Ebron are both long shots here, but they don't offer very good value. Vance McDonald has been one of my favorite picks for tight ends in the mid to later rounds. This is the round to take him. So I think we should grab Vance McDonald with one of our picks. Robby Anderson with the other one would be great. I mean, that's a really nice pick. As far as the running backs go, there's James White would be a decent choice here. Tevin Coleman doesn't offer great value. I guess he's kind of fair value, a little bit overvalued. Lamar Miller, he certainly got a boost when they cut down to Foreman. He's kind of like the only guy there. And even though I'm not thrilled with his outlook, I think, he might be worth a choice here. Darius Geis is a guy actually that I'm very interested in. His outlook is significant, is very good. His value ranked 45th. Now that he's fully back from his injury, he's practicing in full. He is good to go. He's still heavily discounted because of that knee injury he suffered last year, but we're a full year removed from it right now. So I think he is fine. He will be great as our fourth running back. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get everybody queued up here. Let's go ahead and pause the video. I'll come back when we're within 3 and we'll see who we get. All right. So we're almost back to our pick. And one thing I wanted to point out is, what my app uses is something called the expected draft position, where I am using existing mock drafts to model when players are most likely to be taken. And Robby Anderson, you can see here, is rated at right now, currently ranked at pick number 58 on the Yahoo draft board. But according to my app, Robby Anderson is not being taken until pick number 72. And because of that, even though he's been sitting at the top of this list for more than a full round, he has not been taken. And that's just the nature of the draft board right now and what's happening in live drafts. It's one of the advantages of my app, the expected draft position. It works very well in predicting when players will be available and when you need to take them. So obviously I'm very happy that he made it to us. You can see he's already dipped below our pick line, and I'm betting that he will make it. I'm betting whoever's up now is going to probably take Calvin Ridley or one of these tight ends. But anyway, so that's kind of how the app works, and this is a great tool for you to use in these live draft situations. So Robby Anderson did make it to us. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take him since he offers such tremendous value, and then we're going to take our tight end. And you can see O.J. Howard's still here. Eric Ebron is still here. Ebron I don't really like. I think he overachieved last year, and you got Jared Cook? No, Jack Doyle, who's coming back this year, is going to split targets with Ebron. Ebron Basically had the whole backfield to himself, so I'm not really interested in that. But you can see Vance McDonald is still available, so let's go ahead and take him with this pick. And the reason we're taking him now, even though he was pick 102, is because our next pick is pick number 97, and he is typically going, hold on, what does my app say, for tight ends. Vance McDonald's going at pick 86. That's where he's going. So we needed to take him now. He's not really a good candidate to make it to the next round. He's not a reach, right? So we need to take him or he's going to be gone. So let's go to the next round of picks. Let's go to the 7-8. And you can see here it's recommending Larry Fitzgerald. It's recommending Jared Goff, the quarterback, if we wanted to go that route. Darrell Henderson, the running back. I like the idea of taking Darrell Henderson as our fourth running back. He is the backup to Todd Gurley, and he has standalone value. I think he's going to be flex. He's going to have flex value on most weeks in that high-powered offense that the Rams have. So those are all great choices. You can look through the list and see if there's anyone else that we like. Dede Westbrook is another wide receiver who offers very nice value, and what I like to do is compare the value rank against your pick number, and you can see that his value rank is 68th. Dede has a 68th value rank. We're at pick number 97. So again, multiple rounds of value we're getting by taking him. We're maximizing the value by taking a player like Dede at this point, as opposed to a player like Cortland Sutton, who is going here at the same time. His value rank is 112. He's a poor value choice at this point in the draft, okay? So what I like to say is when you're in these drafts, especially when you're in these big leagues, right? You want as many players with value inside the top 100, value ranks 100 or better on your team, because that is how you are going to win your league, by having these players that are providing excess value to your team relative to their draft position. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause until we're within 3 of our next pick. We'll come back, we'll see who we get. All right, so we're back, and unfortunately, Darrell Henderson just got taken. He got taken just a couple picks ago, but we still have Fitzgerald, we still have Westbrook, we still have Goff, and I'm not sure we need to take a quarterback on this round. I was looking ahead to the next round of players, and there's a ton of decent quarterbacks available. I think we can wait. As far as other players, though, if we want to look at running backs, again, just not any great running backs that I'm particularly interested in. Guys that don't offer great value or have very good outlook. Dion Lewis, again, it's just not something that's going to work for me. So let's go ahead. We'll just double up on the wide receivers this round. Fitzgerald and a Westbrook. Oh, of course, we got to wait for it to pop back to us. Hold on one second here. And all right, it looks like this guy's on auto pick, so it should just come back to us at 20 seconds there on the clock. And we'll take Dede. Awesome. That's 2 great wide receivers. This team is shaping up very nicely right now. So let's look at the next round. And again, we definitely want to take a quarterback this round. So you can see that it's recommending Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins as quarterbacks for this round. They're both good choices. I very much like Phillip Rivers because that offense is awesome. Kirk Cousins is also rock solid. I think they're both great choices. As far as who else? Mark Andrews, the Baltimore tight end. We already have our tight end, so I think we're good there. Let's see. If we look at running backs, we can see that, okay, here is a favorite running back that I've been wanting to take in just about every draft I've been doing. Damien Harris. He's getting such great reports out of training camp. It's a New England running back, and I always say if you take a New England running back before pick 100, you're going to get burned. But if you take a New England running back after pick 100, they always work out great. So go with it. Last year, both James White and Sony Michel were available after pick 100. Rex Burkhead was the guy that was selected in the top 100. And look at how that worked out. It's like that every year. So let's go ahead. We can get a quarterback. We'll get Damien Harris. So I'll get everybody queued up, and then we'll come back and we'll make our selections. All right, so it's almost back to us. And again, I want to point out, look at Phillip Rivers. He is ranked on the Yahoo draft board at 109, but my app said you can take him in this round at pick number 125. The reason is because my app is calculating that Phillip Rivers is actually going at pick number 126. So we have the ability to get him, and that is what we are going to do. Although I've got to say, I might want to take a gamble here because Dante Pettis is still somehow sitting on this draft board. I look at it. He was supposed to go rounds ago, and he is still sitting here. I call these players the forgotten because somehow everybody just gets freaked out and scared. Like, why is nobody taking Dante Pettis? Well, I better not take him either. And then all of a sudden he's available, 50 picks later than when he's supposed to go. So let's go for it. I'm going to take Dante Pettis. That is a steal. That's just a stolen pick right there. We'll look up his value in just a second. But now let's get Phillip Rivers set up. And if I miss on Rivers, I got Cousins queued up. But I don't anticipate that this guy is going to take Phillip Rivers in the interim. Because look, there's still Prescott on the board, Roethlisberger. Again, you don't need to go early on a quarterback. Wait as long as you possibly can. We waited until the 10th round. That's a great pick. So he's our quarterback. And now let's go find Pettis, because I got to say, man, that is, I am surprised that he made it that late. Pettis was supposed to go, look at this, 5th, 6th round. Dante Pettis typically goes around pick number 83, and somehow he made it to 125. This does happen in nearly every draft. There's one or two guys that this happens to. There's no news about Dante Pettis that would lead him to plunge like that in value. He's just a gift. He's a beautiful little gift for our team. So I'm very happy with that. Let's go to the 11th and 12th round. And now what we're looking at, again, we want high upside players, right? We want, it's recommending Terrell Williams, who I very much like. He offers tremendous value. He's playing opposite Antonio Brown as the number 2 receiver on this on that team, on the Raiders. When you see a player available this late that has top 100 value, you take him. Terrell Williams is definitely a target. John Brown, Nyheim Hines are also recommended here. They don't offer as good a value. So when we get to this point in the draft, I'm often looking for high upside players. You got players like Paris Campbell here, who is playing with Andrew Luck and is probably going to be the number 2 on that team behind T.Y. Hilton. As far as running backs go, let's see here. Now, obviously, if Damien Harris, he is a long shot. We already got him queued up. If he makes it to our next pick, that would be amazing because I love Damien Harris this year. Ballage, I did check. He was already taken. Justice Hill, there's a guy who I want. Jaylen Samuels, we picked James Conner. Samuels is the backup and the handcuff. And I think Jaylen's going to have standalone value this season, so he's definitely worth a target. So let me get these guys queued up. We'll come back when we're within 3 of the next pick, and we'll see who we get. All right, so it's almost back to us. You can see Damien Harris is still on the board, and I was just checking our roster, and right now we have 5 wide receivers, but only 3 running backs, so we need to definitely go for running backs this round. Damien Harris, absolutely a great pick. He was a long shot for this round, but he made it to us, so that's very good, and I think just because of the nature of this league, with it being a large-size league, we definitely need to get our number 1 picks handcuff. And like I said, I think Jaylen Samuels has value even as just a regular player. His role looks to be very interesting on the Steelers this year. So let's go ahead. We'll get Jaylen Samuels with our next pick. And that gives us 5 running backs and 5 wide receivers. And we've got 1 bench slot left. So let's review this team real quick. Okay, so we will just go and where am I? Okay, so here's what we got. Phillip Rivers is our quarterback. We've got wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Robby Anderson, Larry Fitzgerald, Dede Westbrook, and Dante Pettis. That is awesome. That's a great core of wide receivers to bring into your season. Running backs, James Conner, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Damien Harris, and Jaylen Samuels, and I'll probably take one more flyer running back on this last pick. But our tight end is Vance McDonald. This is a great team. This is the kind of team that's going to be extremely competitive in their league. In this league, you've got great depth on your bench. Guys that are going to be startable value. And, in these sort of larger leagues, man, Depth is so important because there's going to be nothing but garbage on the waiver wire. And if you've got a good player or two that's sitting on your bench, you can trade bait that. There's lots of good things that it can do. So definitely go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com, sign up, get the app. It will absolutely make the difference in your 14-team and 16-team league. I'm telling you, it will absolutely help you find the best players on draft day. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. And happy drafting, everybody.